Welcome back to the Rowan's podcast. I am the Rowan. This is episode number 7, and we are changing subjects for this episode. I wanted to share with you an experience that happened to me about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. And it made a big impact on my life, and I just thought maybe if I shared it, maybe the story could reach someone else and maybe help someone else. In the year 2023, I went through one of the worst, probably the worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. And it took me a while to be able to work through that because it opened up a whole bunch of other stuff for me. And it just, everything just seemed to avalanche on me. It's like that one thing kicked away what was holding back an avalanche. And once that little pebble or whatever once it got kicked away, then the whole avalanche just buried me, and it took me a while to dig out from underneath it. But my husband and my son did a lot to help me through all that. They were an amazing big help to me, and I was in a very dark place, and they brought me home. Literally, they brought me home. And I had been working on healing, and one morning in particular, I was laying in bed under my blankets, on my pillows, and nice and warm, and I was praying, and I was feeling really low about myself and really bad about everything, and just feeling totally unlovable, totally unforgivable, totally just guilt and shame, and just miserable. And one of my favorite stories in the Bible was Samuel, and how Samuel kept getting called by God in his name, and he didn't know who was calling him. And then finally, he was told to just go back and lay back down. And if he heard God calling, to say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." And I remembered that day, and I wanted to hear God's voice. I wanted to know that I mattered. And so I kept praying that, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." And all of a sudden, I got like this feeling like, get up, get up. And I was so warm under my covers, and I was feeling so miserable, and it was my place of comfort, and I just didn't want to move. And then it was just louder, "Get up." And I had this overwhelming urge at that point, like that was the right entire thing I should do, is get up. Like nothing was going to stop me at that point. I was, okay, get up. So I got up, and I made my way into the kitchen. And when I got into the kitchen, I noticed, because we have like a glass door. Well, the door has like a bunch of big glass windows in it. And I noticed through the door that the light to the entry to our house, we have like the entryway, there's a door there, and then there's another door that goes into like a mud room. And then there's another door that comes into the house. And through the door to the mud room, to the windows, I seen that the light was on. And my husband had left the light on when he went to work. And it was like, turn the light off. Came to me, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it later. I just, I didn't recognize what was going on. I'm like, no, I looked out, I'm like, I'm just gonna be late. I'm just gonna do it later. I'm not gonna worry about it. Turn the light off. It was like unmistakable. Turn the light off. So I like, okay. So I went to the door, opened the door up, and as my hand hit the doorknob and I looked up out that window, as I was opening up the door, I seen a bird, a little tiny bird, was flying in that entryway, and he'd gotten trapped and he couldn't get out. So I opened up our window, and hopes that the bird would fly out. Well, the bird wouldn't fly out. He was just flittering around up the ceiling. We have really tall ceilings because it's a really old house, really tall ceilings. And he wouldn't fly out. So then I went to go open up both doors to get him to fly out. And even if I, tried waving my arms over, tried to get him to fly out, he wouldn't fly underneath the door frame to go out. Just would not do it. And he landed up on close to the ceiling. So I grabbed, I think it was an old butterfly net, I think. And I grabbed it and I lifted it up. And the little bird, just as soon as I got close, the little bird just jumped right onto it. Not in it, but onto it, onto the frame of it, and sat on that little frame. And he let me carry him out towards, just sat still, just sat there, like that's where he wanted. Sat on, I carried him out, and as soon as my foot hit the door frame, the bird, to the outer door, the bird just took off. I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. The bird just took off. So then I came in, and as I came back inside the house, walking back through my kitchen, this verse came to my mind. I remembered this verse. I didn't remember, I had to look this up because I remember like the part of it, the very last part of it. And I couldn't remember where it come from, but it's Matthew 6:26, and it said, "Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they?" And the part that hit me was, the part that I remembered was, "Are you not more value than they?" Like, look at the birds of the air. Are you not more value than they? And it hit me right then. It just made me stop and think. And it's like, God got me up out of my bed to save that bird, to show me if he cared enough about that little bird, little tiny puffball bird, that he cared enough about me, that I was more valuable than that bird, that he cared enough for that bird to get me up and go rescue that bird. No one can ever convince me that God is not real. No one can ever convince me that God does not care about us. Because if God cares about that little bird, that tiny little bird, to get me up and have me go rescue that bird, he cares about us. And he was showing me his care by having me do that. And it helped me. Like, to this day, it still helps me. Because I know God exists. I know that he loves us. I know that we're valuable to him. And even me, in that state that I was in, that state, I couldn't forgive myself. I was disgusted with myself. I wasn't willing or really able to accept love from anybody or anything, from like everything that had come crashing down on me. And because I had been in a place where I had totally given up on myself. And I didn't care anymore. I didn't care what happened to me. I didn't care. I just had totally given up on myself. I was in a place I never should have been because I gave up. And my son and my husband literally brought me home. And I didn't even know how God could forgive me. And I felt so desperately lost. And it helped me. It helped me to change that track of where I was at now. I'm not going to say and, bring you a bunch of sunshine and say it changed everything and I was completely transformed from that point, because no. But it did open the door for me to begin to heal. Like I admit I am still not healed. I am still not healed from that. And I struggle. Not as bad as I did. And I have more self-worth than I did. But there are days where I fight and I struggle and I feel like I'm lost. But then I remember, I think about that happened and I think about like God gave me grace and he gave me mercy and I need to remember that. I remember that I mattered because where they brought me back home from, I didn't, I had given up on everything. And uh, it, my husband pulled me through a lot. And he when I got brought home, he pulled me through a lot. And I am still working on it, but every day, I think is better. I'm learning where I belong. I'm learning a little bit of what I think God's plans are for me, a little bit. And I'm learning to trust in God. I'm still having a hard time trusting in people. Even my own husband, I having a hard time trusting him. But I'm working on it. And the reason why I'm sharing this, and this is like a really personal thing, the reason why I'm sharing this is because I want you out there, if anybody out there is struggling, I want you to know that you are loved and you are cared about and you do matter. And whether you believe in God or not, I'm here to tell you that God is there. He does love you and you do matter and you're more valuable than the birds. And whether you seek him out or not, that is your choice. I encourage you to, but that is your choice. But there is hope and there is love. I see that there is, and you're not hopeless, and you're not unlovable, and you're not unforgivable, and you're not your past, you're not your sins, you're not your mistakes. They don't define you. You can rise up from them and walk away from them, and you can be happy again, even if you just forgive yourself. I have a tattoo on me um, to cover up a tattoo I got in that very dark place. And it is a reminder to me of what God did for me and his grace, of everything. I mean, he gave me my husband back. He gave me my my kids back. I have more than just one. But my youngest son was living with us at the time, and he gave me my home back. And showing me, teaching me that I can be loved. And he even touched the heart of my husband. And I have not made it a secret here on this podcast that, we were going through problems, and it was more than just, there was things, that were going on in my marriage that my husband had a totally different uh, attitude, different ways of dealing with me. And it wasn't just about the ADHD. It was not good. It was not pleasant. Let's just say that. But I know that God touched his heart, because the only way a man who acts like he did would change and consistently change would be if God touched his heart. Because I know it's a true change, because this has been something that's been going on for 2 years. Any fake change would, I know that he's honestly trying, and any fake change would only last a little bit. I've been in that circle before. I know what that circle is, and I know God has touched his heart. So, I, I just want to let you know that you're not alone. To forgive yourself. You're not defined by your past. And no matter what, whether you believe in God or not, he believes in you. And it sounds like a little trite saying, and I'm sorry for that. I don't like those little, floofy little, fluffy little sayings, because they just seem like they're not heartfelt and they're not real. But you are loved. And don't give up on yourself. Don't ever give up on yourself. And I'll tell you something. I'll give you a little advice that someone once gave to me when I was in a bad spot when I was a lot younger. And I remember this to this day. I was told to never let anyone make me feel less than I am. And so never let anyone make you feel less than you are. Remember who you are. And remember that you matter. And I guess that's kind of the whole point of me saying this, is I just want you all to know that you matter. And you may not realize it, but there are people in your life that you do matter to. So, thank you for listening to me on this different subject. I really appreciate it. And I really hope that you have a blessed day. More later. Bye.